Cloud Retainer, or Xianyun. Her kit is interesting to say the least, so we're going to be simplifying it because crunching the numbers right now this early in development, they're still going to be tweaking her kit up until her release, so there's no sense in worrying about all of that. As of now, though, we know pretty well what she's going to do, the role she's going to play, and to put it simply, well, she's a Catalyst Animo user that specializes in support, plunging, and healing. She also allows your teammates to plunge as well, so this is actually introducing a whole new playstyle in Genshin, which is sort of cool. But her kit is a little bit wonky in the sense that no one can quite pinpoint who exactly is going to work with her well. And for those of you that actually just really love Cloud Retainer and her design and everything like that, will she be able to be a main DPS or just a main on-field character? Actually, yes, there's some potential for that. I'm not going to be on the record to say that's going to be the optimal choice, but there's definitely room there to build her as your main character if you just really like her and want to use her, so don't worry. Let's go over it now. So to simplify her kit, some of you have probably already seen the leak footage, but if not, that's okay. Her elemental skill releases a wind domain, allowing her to perform a plunging attack 3 times, and she turns into a bird or crane when she does this. It actually looks really cool. And then her burst, nearby characters gain enhanced jumping ability, like we talked about. She also provides an instant burst of healing and then continuous healing afterwards, as well as boosting damage of elemental skill. She also scales off attack, if anyone was wondering. Her passive talents also just further boost plunging attacks to characters within her wind domain. I'm not going to be going into her constellations just yet because, like I said, everything's still early, but let's break it down now. So right off the bat, she's meant to be on the field at least sometimes, having 3 different plunging attacks she can use. That's probably going to be genuinely powerful in its own right, being that she's animal. She'll be able to swirl with a lot of different elements, and she'll have 3 different plunge attacks that she can use. But that also means that she'll be on the field for that time. Now, does she absolutely have to play the plunge meta type role that she's obviously meant to be? Not necessarily, we'll get into that in a second, but who are some characters that obviously right off the top of your head are going to be really good with her? Well, Xiao, obviously. I think Hoyoverse can read my mind because I was literally in the works making a video talking about how Xiao's the most forgotten 5-star in Genshin because I have not heard about him for like a long time, but it seems that he's getting a really great support in Cloud Retainer, but also Farina, because Cloud Retainer's healing is going to be better than Jean's on paper as of right now. She's going to be an insanely good healer with the new artifact set that just dropped as well, so she's kind of power creeping Jean a little bit, but this is okay, because some people might not have Jean, and you can't guarantee yourself Jean, so this is good. Now, as for who she will work well with otherwise, well, it really depends on how you want to play her. Some characters that are actually going to be pretty good in this plunge type meta with the healing that she adds is Luke. He's kind of going to be revived a little bit. I'm curious to see how well he'll actually be. Hu Tao is actually going to be really good in this team comp as well. A lot of the Fontaine characters have kits that revolve around losing HP. She's obviously going to be very good in those situations. She may not be the most optimal. She'll definitely be a solid support in those situations where she can provide damage buffs, healing, and swirl, because Animo is a very versatile element altogether. And there'll be a lot of other niche type team comps where you can run like Xianyun with Shenhe and Cloud Retainer. Xianyun, more viable on-field DPS in this scenario. There's a lot of different little options we're going to have, but it's really hard to pinpoint, and reading it on paper, she's definitely the type of character that we're going to have to test, and we're going to discover as we go. But right off the top of my head, for sure, Farina, Xiao, and Faruzan are going to be absolutely amazing teammates right off the bat. As a matter of fact, that exact team comp with Cloud Retainer is going to be probably really damn good, or a variation of that. Throw in Bennett or mix and match depending on who you have. Xiao are going to be like her most obvious best team comp partners because of just how well their entire kit is geared with hers. If you don't have either of these two characters, or if you do but you already have Jean, that might be something to consider when trying to decide if you want to pull or save for her. Now, as for those of you that want to use her as your like main damage on-field character because you just really like her and you're worried that maybe she's not going to be able to do that, no, she'll definitely be able to. Her skill is made to be on-field to plunge with it when she turns into a bird, that's going to have some decent damage. And if you really want her to be like your absolute main DPS, there's definitely some options. It's not like she won't be viable. Definitely some options there. Faruzon's going to be good support for her. She scales off attack and she has 3 plunges with her skill, and she'll be able to sustain herself with her own healing. So if you sprinkle in some elemental mastery, you're laughing. Also, if you have sacrificial fragments, refine rank 5, you'll be able to almost guarantee that your skill resets. So you'll actually be able to have 6 plunges instead of 3. Plus she's Animo Catalyst, which means she'll have 100% uptime on Animo damage in general. So if you're swirling a lot with different team comps, different supports, you're causing a lot of damage already just through elemental mastery and causing swirl reaction. Not to mention, like I said, you'll have 6 plunges if you go that route. And because she can heal and sustain herself, you can give her the best offensive supports in the game. She's kind of like Jean, but only Jean can't swirl with her regular attacks. She relies on her skill and her burst, and she doesn't have an insane amount of animal application, whereas Cloud Retainer has non-stop animal application. So that is something to consider. I do think she is going to be a very versatile character that at first glance looks a little bit nichely underwhelming, leaves you scratching your head, but the more you actually think about it, you get excited because I think she's going to be insanely good at what she's meant to do primarily, but she's going to have a wide variety of different team comps and different variations that you can actually use her and play. So that is kind of just her kit simplified and different options that I think right off the top of my head that she'll actually be pretty decent with. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. Obviously, we need to wait till she's out, tested, and then they're going to refine her a lot before she's actually released. So, as for her numbers right now, I wouldn't get too concerned or too worked up because it's going to change. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts if you're planning on pulling for her. And as always, we will see you all in the next one. Later.